get through allergies right now. Okay. All right. X and Y intercepts. Here we go. Suppose that we have a graph that looks something of that nature. We call that the x-intercept. We call that the y-intercept. I would say the most useful thing that I do to sketch graphs is to use intercepts. If I don't know what the graph looks like, I try to use that right away to figure it out. I find it very, very, very helpful. Okay. So the x-intercept and the y-intercept each have a coordinate of an x value and a y value. It just so happens that we know one of those values right away. Which value do you know for the x-intercept, and what is it? What is y?
0.
Yeah, by definition, if it crosses the x-axis, the height is 0. So Sophie is 100% correct. She has, as follows, a y value here of 0. And for the y-intercept, the opposite is true. The x value is 0. So when people start making intercepts, they usually forget what to plug in. I think it's easy. I've started to do this for people. Just make an XY table, plug in 0 and 0, and that will produce your intercepts for you. Plug in 0 and 0, and that will produce intercepts for you. Okay? So let's practice that with these 4 examples. The first one, anybody know what shape that makes? Hint, it starts with an L. It makes a line. I know that because both are to the first power. I have x and y, 0 and 0. So if I plug in 0 for x, notice I get 0 minus 4y, which is negative 4y is equal to 8. So what is my y value?
Negative 2.
Negative 2. That's your y-intercept. That quick. Plug in 0 for your y, and notice something that sometimes people like to do is when they plug in, they just like to scratch it out, and you get x is equal to 8. Because if it's 0, it's just going to make everything go away. You get x is 8. So that's enough information to be able to sketch a quick graph. I'm going to do that. 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. I will plot negative 2 for y, and I will plot positive 8 for x. I draw a line. I did not put in a slope-intercept form. I found the intercepts. I'm teaching, so I slowed down for it, but honestly, that's a problem. It takes about 15 seconds to work through. The next one, a little bit more challenging. Anybody know what shape that makes? It does make a parabola. And so if I plug in 0 for x and 0 for y, that's going to give me some important intercepts. What happens if you plug in 0 for x? You get y is equal to? Negative 8. Now if I plug in 0 for y, I get this. I get 0 is equal to x squared minus 2x minus 8. So how many intercepts will that have? Should have 2. 0 equals x minus 4 times x plus 2. So that means I have x-intercepts of positive 4 and negative 2. I go ahead and sketch my graph. The y-intercept is negative 8. It goes on the y-axis. And the x-intercepts are positive 4 and negative 2. Any questions? So when we're asked to graph something, you're like, I don't know what it looks like. X and Y intercepts is a nice way to generate that. Now, both of you ahead of time, all you guys were like, hey, we know what these look like. They're lines and they're parabolas. Well, what about the next two? I mean, that's part of the investigation is if we change something, do we know what it looks like? And we don't until we produce some intercepts. It's a great strategy. I'll plug in 0 for Y and I'll plug in 0 for X. If we plug in 0 for y, you get x is equal to 9. And if we plug in 0 for x, we get 0 is equal to 9 minus y squared. Now, this is what I need from people. We've made this mistake a little bit too often. Please make sure that you focus and lock this into your brain. Does this factor to 3 minus y and 3 plus y, or does it factor to y minus 3 and y plus 3? Which one is it?
3 minus y and plus y.
Yeah, make sure it's a 3 minus y and a 3 plus y, okay? Because as it factors that way, you see you have 3 and negative 3. Okay, if you factor it to y plus 3, that is the same thing because addition is commutative. Subtraction is not. Now, either way, you end up with plus or minus 3, but there are times, which we saw in your last test, where that could come back to bite you. And without a doubt, as we move forward, got to make sure we tidy that up. So this is interesting. I have 2 y-intercepts instead of 2 x-intercepts. So I'm going to make a 3x3 graph. You can do what you want. It's America. It's a free country. Make your choice. And I go ahead and I plot 9 on the x-axis, and then I plot positive 3 on the y, and I plot negative 3 on the y. Any idea what shape that will make? Good. The number of people in the other two classes right away, their first reaction was triangle. Everybody understand why they would say triangle? Only in this situation, you can see that it's a y squared and x. You're used to seeing that. So it is a parabola. It's just instead of going up and down, it goes left and right. Notice how the y is being squared there. So that investigative approach showed us that that's its shape. Quick way to sketch that graph. All right, our last one. Have you come across situations before where both the x and the y are squared? Friday we did, didn't we? What did we graph on Friday? What did we have a checkpoint on today? Circles. And so you would say, well, maybe it's like a circle, except you got this 4 right there. How does that impact things? Well, we'll figure it out. We'll plug in 0 for x, we'll plug in 0 for y, and see what we get. As you plug in 0 for x, you get 4y squared is equal to 16. As we divide by 4, we get y squared is equal to 4. So therefore, y is plus or minus 2. Go ahead and plug in 0 for y, you get x squared is 16. So x is plus or minus 4. So you have 4 total intercepts in that situation. As I plot these points, I have plus or minus 2, plus or minus 4. Anybody want to suggest what kind of shape that makes?
Oh, wait. I made the oval. Oval.
An oval, and actually mathematically we call it an ellipse. This is an ellipse. There you have it.
Where did oval come from?
Oval?
Yeah.
I don't know. Not too up on the etymology of that word. Ellipse, I believe that is Greek.
Ellipse sounds cool.
Teach their own. That prefers ellipse.
I know.
Yeah.
I guess
I could read your mind. It's one of my many gifts as a math teacher. If you look at your homework, you're gonna get caught up.
Tonight, actually.
Tonight.
No homework, no practice, so.
Good. Section 1.8, problems 1 through 8, those are what we call symmetry problems. That's for Wednesday, okay? Don't do those right now, okay? I just want you to focus on the other side. That's where it talks about intercepts. That's problems 9 through 16. Those are your intercepts problem. Looks like I've lost that answer key from previous years. I'm gonna have to try to find it or make a new one. But other answer keys are posted. You've got about 10 minutes. The assignment does not take very long. Some people might actually finish it in class. So good luck.